There are facts about our world so strange they sound like mystical legends, but every one of them is confirmed by science. And if you think you've already seen everything, get ready. For example, on one of the Pacific Island ranges, there is a volcano that wakes up in the same unchanging cycle, as if obeying someone's invisible hand. Locals say that every time before an eruption, they hear a rumble, like a giant, many-voiced whisper. Scientists explain it by the movement of magma, but no one knows why the sound appears weeks before the actual activity. And if you think this is just a coincidence, then wait, because the facts only get stranger. But a whisper from the ground is not the strangest thing. Some organisms on Earth live as if they violate the laws of nature. Take, for example, an ordinary octopus. At first glance, it's just a sea creature. But if you look at its circulatory system, you realize it looks less like an animal and more like the design of some alien organism. It has not one, not two, but three hearts. Each one performs a separate role, like parts of an unknown mechanism. And here's what's especially scary. After the death of an octopus, its nervous system can remain active for several hours. The tentacles move by themselves, as if remembering the last commands of the brain. Scientists explain this with a distributed neural network, but some divers say it feels like they're still alive. Whatever it is, it sounds too reasonable. But what's much more terrifying is that similar anomalies occur in humans. There are people who can hear how their eyes are moving. This is a rare condition called impaired sound suppression syndrome, when the brain stops filtering internal noises. Imagine that every step you take is accompanied by a loud click, and the turn of your eyes by a wet friction inside your head. Some patients said they heard someone walking nearby at night, until they realized it was their own blood beating. Doctors say it's just physiology. But here's the strange thing. Sometimes this effect appears suddenly and disappears just as suddenly, as if someone switches the person to a different hearing mode. It's like the body is remembering a hidden setting. But there are places where silence becomes more dangerous than any sound. In the USA, there is an anechoic chamber, a place where the noise level drops below zero. In such silence, you can hear everything. How your stomach works, how your joints move, how blood flows through your vessels. But the most mysterious part is that many people reported something else. Affairs ventutin minutes of completes illency, they begant orwake voices. Scientis stiets just the brain treeing to filthy void. However, some visitors claimed they heard actual words and could not recognize who they belonged to. Eventually, the room was closed to the public, and not because of the sounds, but because of the people who walked out in panic. But silence is only half the danger. Sometimes the world itself tries to attract our attention. There are trees on the planet that scream before they die. Scientists found that when the wood is severely dehydrated, it creates ultrasonic pops, so powerful they can be recorded with special equipment. But one fact knocks the ground out from under your feet. Sometimes trees emit such signals even if the soil is moist and the roots are healthy. Botanists call these abnormal trees impulses. But why they occur, no one knows. Some researchers believe that trees somehow transmit information to each other, warning that something dangerous is coming. And most of the questions arose in 2023, when the whole forest screamed at the same time. But what can make thousands of living beings react at the same time? Scientists noticed the same massive reaction in animals a few hours before the earthquakes. Dogs start howling, Fish gather in dense flocks, and birds suddenly fly away, as if someone had given them an alarm. And here's the paradox. Seismologists' instruments record the first changes only minutes before the tremors, and the animals react in advance. Some studies suggest that they hear infrasound, but many experts consider this only part of the explanation, because sometimes animals get scared even when there is no earthquake. So they're reacting to something else, an invisible factor that we cannot yet measure. But the most frightening part is that sometimes people feel this factor too. Sometimes a person suddenly feels threatened, even though there is absolute security around. Psychologists call these perceptual failures, but there are rare cases when people felt a catastrophe in advance. An earthquake, a fire, or even an explosion at a great distance. One man claimed that a minute before the earthquake, he felt a vibration in his bones. Later, scientists confirmed that some people actually pick up infrasound, which causes anxiety even before the tremors begin. But the explanation does not solve the main question. Why does this feeling sometimes appear for no reason? It feels like the world is whispering, "Look more closely." But there is a fact that unites all these phenomena. Every fact you've heard is connected by one common thing: hidden signals that we either don't notice or can't explain. Volcanoes warn in whispers. Animals react to invisible waves. People sense a threat before it appears. Even trees send signals when something goes wrong. And the deeper scientists study this, the clearer it becomes. The world is much more talkative than we thought. But the main question remains unanswered. If the world is trying to tell us something, why do we only hear it in the most dangerous moments? And if this is not a warning, but an invitation, do you think the world is really sending us signals? Or is it just a coincidence? Write in the comments what you think is true and what is mystical.